Hello, everybody. Sunny Byers here, creative specialist at Google. I'm happy to show you Studio and Google Web Designer. So here we have Studio. Here is our homepage, the dashboard to Studio, which you can see at a glance is a very helpful resource. We have areas where you can sign up for these user studies. You can gain access and download our Google Web Designer, which is our HTML5 authoring tool. You can also see our rich media gallery, just can give you a glimpse of other creative formats. So once you get into Studio, you'll also see alongside of the dashboard, we have some tabs here at the top, one for creatives, one for assets. This is our asset library. And then for dynamic content, this is where we start developing the DCO and code in the functionality of our DCO campaigns. So when coming to Studio for the first time, you already have an existing account. So some admins on your account would give you access to the tool, or you can get access through our help center, or someone from the Google side can give you access as well. But when you come to Studio for the first time and you want to connect your campaign to other parts of the Google marketing platform, we can begin this right here. So with advertisers, here's where you go, just simply create a new advertiser. Now here, there's the advertiser association. So this is the part where we connect this piece to your campaign manager account, which then can be, get access to your DV360 account. So you connect these tools in order for them to work together because as you're working in Studio, you're adding in the functionality and you're creating the template to give it that coding to have these swappable, identifiable ways to work within the campaign. So you want to make sure it's connected to, your trafficking arm, which would be Campaign Manager. From there, you also add in the name of whomever will be trafficking, whoever is in charge of that ad ops. It's always good to have them be aware that you're setting up the account. So we're just creating the account, the advertiser, and then we can now start to begin the campaign. Now, again, you can still make your association at any point, but here we can begin to start our campaign creation. Now, I want to take a pivot here to show you our asset library. Here is where you can drag and drop your assets, and they can be stored here for free for your campaign use. Now, this is also another test account just to show you that quite simply, you can easily just drag and drop your files into the asset library. From there, you can get a detailed accounting of what accounts these assets are tied to, what the ID is for those accounts, the general info, including when was this brought in? Is it currently in a campaign? Is it live? Is it in market? Is it out of market? How much does it weigh? A lot of details. It also can include a dynamic path, which you then use to add into your feed. Now, that will be a piece towards feed development. We can have a part 2 session there on how to create a feed, but this is where we drag and drop our assets. Now, your developer will probably already have an existing folder of assets. This is exactly where you bring them. So when you have your template within Studio and your feed within Studio, it knows where your assets are. So it all works together in that realm. Now, once you get your assets loaded into your account, you then need to take a look at where you're bringing in your template. So with that, I'm going to pivot to our Google Web Designer tool, which is always recommended because these come already QA'd. If you're doing a DCO campaign, these include the bindings that already speak to Studio, which I can show you in just a moment. But this is also a really easy way to begin to start building quickly. So from there, you hit create, it brings you to a stage. Now, many of you may recognize this 300 by 250, but here we have where you can literally drag and drop these assets so you can recreate your template to make it look like the creative you're looking for, to match your template, to speak to what's happening in your creative brief. But this is where you can also define those dynamic elements. What are those pieces that you want to have swappable? Is it the call to action? Is it the headline? Is it, so you're able to define the dynamic spaces on the ad through this template that you chose, which is dynamic. As this is customizable, you can still play with the placement of it. You can add your text here, or if you're using text images, you can drag them and drop them in here. The good thing to note that you can also load your specific fonts into the tool as well. So if your style guide dictates that you'll be using a specific font, feel free to load that in here as well. So you can start building very easily. But something good to note is all the components that you have at your fingertips, all the different interactions you can use, whether you want to add like a product gallery or say you want to bring in a video, say for instance, you want to add some interesting graphics or effects. Perhaps you want radio buttons or a slider. You're say asking for a poll within your banner ad. There's a lot of great things you can add here. Tap to call, add to calendar, a Google map. You can even go street view in these banners. So um, I recommend, flexing your creative muscle and seeing what you can add, but you can also create just exactly how you can very easily and simply. We recommend going through design view, but if you have some coders who like to hand code, that view is also available to you. This is something that a lot of developers would prefer, but you can build in either way, whether it's design or code view. Once you develop your template, you can then preview your ad. You can preview this on Chrome, Safari. You can check out your headlines. You can see what it looks like in every size. So you can essentially build all your ads at the same time. But here you can take just a view of like how they would all look side by side. So once you do that, it passes the test. You send everyone your external preview link to everyone on your team. Everyone gives you the green light. You can then publish your ad. So whether, say for instance, this is a standard ad and you just want to download this to your desktop to email it to your trafficker, that's a great way to do a standard ad. But if it is a DCO ad, you can export it straight to Studio. Now, once you set up the export to Studio, keep in mind this template that you just developed will be ported straight into Studio for you. You don't have to upload it into the tool. It will migrate into the tool for you. But this is a summary of what you're doing once your template is created. So the environment you're building, the total size, here's a validation check. It passed all the checks. So that's another good feature about this tool. As you're creating different elements or updating the look and feel, you can always be assured that it's compliant when you pass all these checks. Again, assign this to your account. All this should be the same across the board, who your advertiser is, the name of your account, and then just to make sure everything is set up correctly, then you hit publish. Now, once you hit publish, this is sent to your Studio account. So you're in Studio now. Track through to grab your ad. A lot of times you may have a lot of different campaigns that you're working for across many different advertisers under your account. So you can have like a listing of all the different advertisers or accounts that you're working from. So you can also give people specific access, like whether that be editing access or not. But here, as I made a connection before, we have our October agent profile. So this is going to be the name of our new campaign. We see that we have our advertiser assigned. We're making our advertiser association. So it's literally a process of 1 through 7. So when you begin, you take your profile, you name your profile, you describe your profile, you move on to the piece where you're looking to add in your feed.